Alright, with that being said, we're not just done quite yet. Remember me. Here again versus D-ranked demons. We're going to go into Ilios here. Ilios the Lighthouse, if you want to get real technical here. Forgot to do our starting lineup, so let's go over that real quick before it comes in. And you should remember this core here. Neptune going to be the tank player. You're going to have Raza Jericho, of course, on to the DPS, followed by Sam and Nightmare. Going to round out this back line here, and let's go back to the game as the teams are starting to roll out here. We see a very standard Winston dive composition coming out for Remember Me, and a more brawly comp for D-ranked demons with a Pharah. We haven't seen Pharah too often here in the games being played. Going to struggle kind of mightily with Raza, and this Freeha can put a lot of damage down. Talking about that, you see the pummel form already coming out. Objective coming in. Remember, is going to be the first one on top of that, so they do get the point presence first, and the time is clicking up. Raza with a few good explosive bolts coming in here, but eventually is found out by the Pharah. 1 HP in a dream. Anybody can look at her, but they don't here. Remember me. I'm going to have to fight this Ramatra on point. Jericho going to throw some back shots into the Ramatra. Nightmare goes down. So remember, you are down 2 players crucially here at 20%. But Jericho Sam right now making sure this point doesn't quite flip over. It finally does at 25% as Sam goes down. Raza is back. Jericho is still on the point, but eventually does fall back. We're going to go over to the POV of Raza sitting here closest to an ult. Except for Sam, who is now getting back to spawn. On the side of D-ranked demons, ult's looking in favor for this Pharah right now at 83 here. It's going to be the first, very close to be the first one here, but let's see who it is. Chat, if you want to make bets here on who's taking it. But talking about which, Raza is almost getting to get Charlie Kirk here. Getting to some shots from the high ground here at 64% and counting. First ult built is going to be on the side of Rocket, on the side of D-ranked demons. Raza found out by this Ramatra. Here's Jericho Sam going down. Now, the opening you would like to see for Remember Me. Neptune kind of stuck up here. Needs the help of the Kiriko, but talking about needs the help of the Kiriko. Kiriko needs to help herself right now. A beautiful bubble does come in to protect Nightmare here. But for how long is the rest of the team is hunting him down? Raza does find the pick onto the Ashe, so is tired of that Freeha. Did not use the Bolo, goes on the Ashe. Felt a bit more oppressive here. The Justice is out and only finds a little bit of the monkey here. Kitsune Rush and beat out. Kitsune Rush on the side of Remember Me is now out. Beat was good for 3 on the side of D-ranked demons. Sam is still yet to pull the trigger on that. Still holding out for probably the Annihilation if I have to make my bets here. Talking about which, Jericho and Neptune trying to clear this point out. Sam beats and good for 3 here, so he's breaking the curse of the 2-player beats. Annihilation is out. Bob is out on point. They're trying to just boop him away so he does not get the value he's looking for. And Nightmare does get the kill onto it. We see a Pharah probably getting spit around by their Kiriko. 99% fire, Remember Me. Nightmare is going to be the first to go down here. Jericho just jumps off the map. I get it. Not their round. Remember Me. Looks like they're going to go down here a map on Ilios Lighthouse. 25 to 100% D-ranked demons going to map a point. Talking of which, I was looking for the music for this this match, and one of it was "We Are Charlie Kirk" Nightcore. So we might be listening to that in the intermission. I'm just gonna say that now, because I am mildly intrigued what Nightcore "We Are Charlie Kirk" sounds like. Alright, going to Ilios Ruins here. Remember Me on death's door for at least Ilios right now. Looking to get back into this game. They're still going to run their standard composition here of the Winston dive. Right now, D-ranked demons map point. They hold the keys to the kingdom in their hands. You see Neptune going to set up for a dive onto the back line. So right now the split, Jericho gonna put some pressure onto this Ashe. A beautiful dynamite does force the Ramatra back for just a second. Looks like Remember Me does have this map controlled and probably going to get point flip. We had seen them get point flip before. Roz is going to be the first to go down, followed by Nightmare. Some beautiful rocket placements by Bowser here on the side of D-Rank Demons. But like I was saying, Remember Me did get the first point of the last one. But D-Rank Demons coming up big here, getting the crucial kills that they need. Here's the current scoreboard right now. Sam, Raza leading the way in deaths at 1 and 4 apiece. That Farah still deathless, along with the Kiriko and Ramatra on the side of D-Ranked Demons. Talking about which it is now 10 to 22 in favor of D-Ranked Demons. Raza, I'm still getting pressured out. You see Sam going over to the Illari and puts enough damage into it that Neptune does get the picks. You love to see the assist not giving anybody credit except the final blow. Jericho, there's a prime example. Neptune was doing a lot of the damage, so is Sam, but Jericho comes in last second, kills the Ramatra, and that's going to force D-Rank Demons back. Will they stem the bleeding? It looks like they will. But you see Sam going over to this Illari, probably to help deal with the Farah, as Raza was going to be the only one who had to look at her, and then he also had to deal with this Ashe. Talking about which, Raza's head does find a few more rockets coming in here. Talking about which, Neptune burning quite nicely, needs some TLC, does find it. Sam's pylon going down. Not going to have that for another 12 seconds. Jericho finds it and is found by Justice, so is Neptune there. Charged with the double homicide of the Ashe, and Justice finds its mark here. Remember, you do get 49%, but the point immediately flips back for the side of D-Ranked Demons, currently sitting right now at 47, and gonna switch over to lead right now. Eventually hits 50%. Raza eventually does find the mark onto the Farah. Here comes the Kitsune Rush, and is immediately traded out. Raza is. Jericho hunting this Lucio down, but this backline on the side of D-Rank Demons looking quite tasty. You see Jericho still hunting this Lucio. Beat good for 3. So we haven't seen anything but 3 here. Here comes the sun. Finds 2 here. One's cleansed, but Sam eventually does find the Lucio on the side of D-Rank Demons. And remember, he does pick the point flip, and so does take the lead. 65 to 64% and counting. Off the back of both support ults used. Did, however, have the beat come out for the side of D-Ranked Demons. Talking about ults, we have Bobs on both sides. You have the Annihilation, but Raza is going to find the mark with the help of Neptune. So that Bob's not going to come out probably till the last fight here. Is Remember Me at 82% and counting. This Jericho finds a stick. That's going to be a rare one. You see the season. The Annihilation does come out. Wants to sustain there. Wanted to get the touch. 91% for Remember Me. Here comes the Bob. Not going to get the mark here. Remember Me just fall back. And I think there's not going to be a single touch by D-Rank Demons. So Remember Me tie Ilios up on Ruins. And we're going to head to the final map here. Head to Ilios Well. Remember to drink water, everyone. 10 out of 10 thing. I just noticed we haven't talked about the bans. The bans are as followed. Remember Me did ban the Diva out. D-Rank Demons banning the Echo. And honestly, that Echo ban, probably for the better of their Farah here. But Remember Me did find an answer here, switching over to that Illari. The Illari has been quite strong this season. All things considered here. But we're on Ilios Well. Let's see if the Lucios can get any boops here. You see Remember Me taking position on this windmill here. Looking to dive this backline. You see Jericho already taking position over here on Cage. And of course, with this more brawly comp, this Ramatra can really anchor point much better than this Winston can, who's looking for the opportunity to go. Looks like D-Rank Demons are going to put their plant on the point here. The Kiriko TP already used. Jericho eventually does have to fall back. along with Neptune here. However, without the form, they can really start to punish this Ramatra, but they're still hunting for it. This Kiriko eventually does get this TP out and is found by Nightmare. However, Bowser does find Sam at the end of it. Neptune finding a crucial pick over to make more in favor of Remember Me. You see the fire going down quite low. Jericho finishing it off. Just the Ramatra and the Lucio for D-Rank Demons here. Looks like this Ramatra getting pressured out. Going to fall quite nicely. Pinch by Nightmare. Memory execute that perfectly. Does get the point. Get some lead here. Suzu's already 4, so that's going to be done for a few seconds. And we do see some swaps by D-Rank Demons over to that Reaper. Want to deal with the Winston's front pressure here, and the Winston swap as well. It's going to be more difficult to find that value onto the Alari. Really going to have to angle max this team. Reaper looking to try to get forward here. Taking that burn damage. Nightmare does get it with the help, an Ash pick with the help of Jericho. Talking about that, Raza throws a beautiful dynamite. Does burn the Reaper a little bit, but with that Wraith form does cleanse it off here. Neptune gonna isolate this backline from this Reaper, and looks like the rest of Memory are really hunting it down. You saw Nightmare trying to peek his head out, trying to get that Reaper pick. Right now, 57% for Remember Me, 0 for D-Rank Demons. Some great burn damage coming from Sam. Does have Sun ready. Jericho with the Pulse Bomb. We're going to go over to Neptune, actually, who's going to be playing deep. Here comes the Primal Rage. Let's see if we get the White Boy Primal Rage. Raza does find the kill onto the Reaper, and it looks like this is the whitest Primal I may have ever seen. Not too much value here. Let's go over to Sam, who does have the Sun. 79%. Remember, we can shut the door here. Talking about shutting the door, Jericho shows the door to 2 players on the side of D-Rank Demons. Here comes the Sun. Looking for someone to fire it. Fires at the Winston. Not really a target you wanted to see, especially with it. However, the Sun is formed. Beat out by D-Rank Demons with 4 here. Sam does find the kill onto the Lucio, and the Kitsune rushes out. D-Rank Demons not getting the touch. Remember, we take Ilios, and now we're 1-0 in the series against D-Rank Demons. We're going to go into the intermission, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, with that beautiful shit post out of the way, we're getting right back into it. We were listening to We Are Charlie Kirk in Mandarin. You can look up We Are Charlie Kirk Mandarin on YouTube if you want to find out. But enough of that shit posting. We're going to Runa Sapi here. Remember, we're going to run out in pretty standard composition we've seen 100 times before. And we're going to see the mirror composition on the side of D-Ranked Demons here. I got to close this tab because I'm just fucking laughing at it. You molested Mike. We do have incoming reports that Bobby Kodak might have been on the Epstein files. You know, it makes sense, like Sam said. It is very likely here. We're going to go over to... we're just going to keep on spectating as this thing... We see Jericho, though, getting a beautiful pinch here, though. Puts a lot of damage into the Sojourn Lucio as they were trying to step forward here. Right now, no team, though, in a too dangerous situation. Remember me taking more and more space onto this map here. Jericho missing the drill dash here. And it looks like their D-Rank Demons are going to start swarming Neptune. Interesting rotation does go down. Jericho, though, finding the Kiriko, but immediately put down. Raza not going to go down fighting. So the backline on the side of D-Rank Demons is down. Nightmare with some beautiful kunai, finding 2 here. So it is a 3-man jump. Sam, Nightmare, and Raza finding the Ramatra on the side of D-Rank Demons. And remember, we are now on their way through Runa Sapi. Remember, chat, this is the final game of the regular season. Remember me needing to win this to keep their playoff hopes alive. So this game, and if they get a 3-0, it does help with any tiebreakers and standings. If you do go up, we did see them win against the Raiders here, 3-0. So there'd be a +6 on the board here. Jericho with a beautiful shutdown of that burrow onto the Venture, though does need help here. Looks like a JJK episode. This Ramatra catching hands from every single angle here. Jericho finding Rocket here. So he's found 2 incredible picks. Neptune finds 2, the Lucio and the Ramatra on the side of D-ranked Demons. Remember me, does get this checkpoint, and now we're on their way. Jericho eventually does get shut down. Bowser is good for it. Both ventures with Tectonic Shock. Doubt we'll see them be used here. Big venture diffs in the chat. Absolutely right. Jericho washed. We don't hate to see it, but it's true. Remember me, eventually do pull back, waiting for their whole team to regroup as the entirety of D-ranked Demons are here. So we're back into this neutral fight here. Nightmare is going to pull the gun first onto that Kitsune Rush. Neptune's going to use a lot of it here. Good beat on the side of D-ranked Demons. Good for 5, however, Neptune finding the Ramatra down here. Jericho, of course, being diffed by the Venture once more. Hate to see my flex DPS being so washed like that. So right now it's a 4v4 right now in favor of Remember Me, as they do have their tank up. Talking about which the Annihilation is popped. Too much deadlock, he said. He is a deadlocked brain. Talking about which, Jericho, who are you voting for in deadlock? If it's not that wolf girl, you're lying to yourself. But back to Overwatch, we have ults on the board here. 3 for each side. Sam beat, good for 5. We are yet to see him do a 2-man beat this stream so far. Jericho did find the kill onto it. Backline dead for D-ranked Demons, including their hit scan player. Jericho finding 2. Finally finds a kill onto the Venture here. Jericho voted for Trump. I can see it. I can see it. You hear her first. Ben has my votes for 36. We see a Bastion coming out on the side of D-ranked Demons. That's enough Lamaus. Talking about enough Lamaus. Sam, of course, dying first. Big lulls in the chat. Jericho finding some kills. So remember, he's still in this. Up 1, actually. I can do maths here. Up 2 now as Raza goes down, and so does Neptune. So once again, we're teased. And this map can't end fast enough, as we are 130 meters to only 0.34 for D-ranked Demons. A lot of ults used by Remember Me there. Or let me make sure. No, not a lot of. Only 2 ults used in the last fight that they lost here. On the side of D-ranked Demons, they do have 2 ults. Here comes the Kitsune. OC nowhere to be found just yet. Miro does find Jericho, so he is trolling right now. D-ranked Demon still has this up. Nightmare finding the Lucio and gonna pop that Kitsune Rush to really get into it. However, Neptune stepped forward into the Gatling gun of a Bastion. So as much as that they did get the kill there, Remember, he does has to back up as they lost their tank. It is now 32 to 130. So D-ranked Demons making the most of that they can. Have some alt rotations coming up here, and it looks like if they cycle these correctly, they really could go for it. Bowser gonna pop his ults, looking for the backline of Remember Me. Sam surviving with about a 50% HP. Here comes the OC. Remember Me's gonna juggle around here. A beautiful disruptor shot by Raza. Annihilation is out, immediately shut down. Beat good for 5 on the side of D-ranked Demons, and they're gonna get the checkpoint here. You see Nightmare gonna take that 1v1, however, he is not respected by the D-ranked Demons. Raza getting found out by a grenade here. Rest in peace, Grandma. She got blown up by a bazooka. Speaking of which, Nightmare just going to keep stepping in that disruptor shot, making Sam nervous here, but they eventually do get out. Talking of which, Sam's going to be, does have this ult on the board, and pretty much going to be the only one. You can build this Annihilation up if you are D-ranked Demons. But would you really use the beat or the Annihilation here, as Sam's beat almost finds 2, does find 3 at the very last second as Raza slides into view. You're going to see Raza steal the bot away. He's going to buy his team just a few more seconds before that barrier can move up. Remember Me not having a good set of fights here, getting picked kind of early. Putting D-ranked Demons back into this game. It is now 130 to about 95, and probably could get to 100 here if you're D-ranked Demons. Bastion's already built the ult at first. He's hunting Nightmare. Eventually with the TP is good. Throws one more out, but it's not going to do too much damage. Neptune going to kite that out beautifully. Nightmare still stepping into that. Here comes the tectonic shock by Jericho. Will he find anything? He did. He did find enough damage onto the Bastion. However, Neptune does get that pummel form. Jericho eventually shows up on the kill feed, killing the Lucio here and the Kiriko. So he's coming back alive. He is awake now. He's no longer EP. And so remember me, stem the bleeding there for D-rank demons, but they do get their forward spawn if you're a fan of the demons here. Don't know why you'd be here if you're a fan of the demons. This is the Remember Me casting channel. And we're in open division. Speaking of which, we have alts here. D-rank demons coming up with a mighty alt bank. Has this Kitsune, has this Annihilation. Can quite thoroughly build this OC if they wanted to. On the side of Remember, you just have this OC and Nightmare's Kitsune Rush. Talking about which, both teams pull the trigger on that Kitsune Rush. Rocket, 1 HP. Raza, R&R are trying to find the shots here. Raza under a lot of pressure, eventually found out. He was pincered by 2 hit scans. Talking about pincered, looks like a bunch of Remember Me players dropping quite quickly here. But the Annihilation form was popped before Neptune could get his. 97% towards that. And we have a minute 38 left on the clock here. D-rank demons are in the striking range of Remember Me's golden line of victory here if OC overtime does come out. Raza finding Rocket here. That's going to be a big first pick by Remember Me, but of course Jericho has to go and die. Sam does make up for it, does find a Lucio here. Lucio did have the beat for the side of D-rank demons. Raza traded out, but does throw the shot that does help kill the Ramatra on the side of D-rank demons. Minute left on Runasapi here. Teams very evenly matched here. 130 to 108 in favor of Remember Me. Here comes... There is no big trees here, Sam. You do not lie. No trees. No big. Talking of which, you see Jericho out here trying to find this backline, trying to find any damage, but they're pumping a lot of it into this Ramatra of D-ranked demons. You see Raza taking up that side angle. And eventually, D-ranked demons are going to have to succumb to that and back up. Here comes the OC, Neptune throwing in it. Sam, beat good for 3. He's teasing us with that 2-man beat. Hasn't got it quite yet. D-ranked demons, Ramatra, quite low. And with that Annihilation beat, that does buy enough pressure on D-ranked demons here. Raza does get the checkpoint for Remember Me. And so Remember Me's just going to play this long angle. Jericho, the only ult on the board so far. Nightmare coming up at 10% with that Kitsune Rush. Though Jericho does have this tech shot. Here it comes. He finds it. He's hunting this Bastion. Good for the Bastion. Will he get the Kiriko? Does get the Kiriko with the help of Sam here. So that's a beautiful 2-man tag. Talking about which, Neptune takes that 1v1 and gets the fistfight win. It looks like Remember Me is going to take this away from D-rank demons. A very close Runasapi. But that's all she wrote. Remember Me, match point, and we'll be right back. Alright, that was our last and final intermission for the regular season, folks. We're going to head into New Junk City as Remember Me look to make this the final map of the regular season here, securing their lives to the playoffs. So far, D-Rank Demons, they're putting up quite a bit of a fight, but cannot find the finish line here on, well, quite frankly, any map. Coming close a few times here. We're going to see some very interesting compositions here. The bands are as followed. The Vendetta coming out for Remember Me and the Ramatra for D-Ranked Demons. You see what the D-Ranked Demons want to do here. They're going to wait for that Bastion form. Bastion's going to swing out wide. Get bubbled by the Zarya. So that's going to be their go card. Remember Me looking to probably do the same thing, but with the Venture here. And you see that's... Here comes the rush by the Bastion. Bubble quite low, and Jericho just going to shove him back into his teammate as soon as that form ends and blows up the Bastion. So that's their main room of engage already gone. Raza finding both the Kiriko and the Lucio. Was that? I don't know if that was a collateral or not, but cleanup is coming in. As Remember Me does find the Tracer of Rocket for the D-Rank Demons. Not quite well executed that Bastion swing, but for the most part, that's going to be what you're going to be looking for this Zarya composition. Tracer, of course, is going to put some pressure onto the points as they go. Going to try to find those angles to make sure Memory's on their toes. But Sam can do a pretty damn good job at marking that, talking about which two teams ready to fight. Memory at 40 and 50% and counting. Here comes the swing. The bubble already good a bit early. The Zarya, 0 bubbles right now, could not hold on. But talking about which, Neptune had to kite a different direction from the rest of his team. Eventually does get burned. Raza finds Rocket here as the Zarya for D-Rank Demons is going to step on to point here. Eventually does get the flip. Remember, at 70%, D-Rank Demons are finally getting some point presence here.
This ends now.
But you see the OC coming out for Raza. Jericho finding the help of the OC. Raza with 2, actually. Just by himself here. See the Venture switch over to from the Tracer, not finding too much value for the side of D-Rank Demons. Remember me, not getting cleared off the point quite well, and are now sitting. I think they're going to get this point 100%, and they do. So remember me, on their way to keep their season alive right now, up 1-0 on New Junk City. Also on both sides have the Kitsune Rush. Both sides have the beat, but Jericho coming up huge here with the Tectonic Shock. Eventually does get the grenade here. Sam beat, good for 5. Kitsune Rush down center. Not going to get too much value as the kite is great for the side of D-Rank Demons, or the Kitsune Rush maybe have fat fingered. Talking about which, D-Rank Demon's going to pop their Kitsune Rush. Jericho disrupting it just a bit, so Bastion can't get the full use out of that form. Nightmare is going to be the first to go down here on the side of Remember Me. Jericho fighting the Venture here. The excavation is out. They're hunting for a player and not going to find it so far. Grab, good for 2 here. Gets Sam, gets Neptune. Neptune looking quite low, gets burnt down by the Bastion and the Zarya pick out here. So D-Rank Demons are going to be the first people to get control of here the point here on Refinery. You would love to see the Kitsune Rush held for a little longer here, but alas, no good. On the side of alts, D-Rank Demon gonna pop this artillery form early. I'm not a fan of how they're using this artillery form. Of course, the bubble is out, but no one shot it because no one was looking at the Venture here. Talking about the Ventures, Jericho does give Neptune a good chunk of ult. We're going to go over to Raza, who's taking a devious angle right now. Has a rail charge ready to go, looking to use it here. But Neptune going down quite low, needs some help, does not get it. Remember, we do get the point flip here, though. D-Rank Demons at 63%. Remember, me only at 9. Jericho finds the Bastion. Raza finding the Kiriko. So they have a very much... in here, a lot of damage coming up here. Here comes the beat, good for 3 on the side of D-Ranked Demons. Right now sitting pretty at 60%, 69% and counting. Gonna pop the excavation as their tank goes down. The rest of Remember Me's early picks are now back. It is just a Venture and a Lucio. The Bastion is now out, but how much longer can he use? He did pick the Lindholm Explosives perk. Those are great for large chunk damage instead of Bastion's continuous burst damage, of course. Personally, not a fan of that perk overall, but if you're playing in a team composition that they're very much huddled together, which you don't see Remember Me doing too often. They like to play these angles, so you gotta get really lucky with some of these shots. Really lucky if Remember Me boxes themselves in. Here comes a Kitsune Rush talking about on the side of Remember Me. They really want to push the tempo here, hunting for this Bastion. Very high form here, especially with the bubbles. However, Neptune does go down without finding it. Raza gonna say, I'm gonna put the team on the back and try to carry as he finds 3 picks here for Remember Me. Make that 4. Raza coming up big for Remember Me and is gonna secure Refinery here. 2-0. Remember, folks, this is match point. Right now, D-Rank Demons look like the better team, but they have not secured the point. They have not shut the door on Remember Me several times, and this might just be the end of them here. Match point. Map point. Remember me, here with 3 ults. Raza finding a pick over to Rocket. That's going to give them very great map positioning here. They're looking for that Zarya to burn down. They do not get it. Nightmare going down to that Bastion. But Neptune does find the kill on to the Zarya here. Remember, he's going to be the first to start getting these point progress, as Raza is going to be the one to capture it.
Good to see you. Hey. Dodge this.
I don't know what you mean by Mimi just closed it out, but remember me right now, 30% count. Grav, good for 3. Grav, good for 2 on the opposite side. Beat does save Raza and Neptune's life. Jericho does find the Tectonic Shock. However, Bowser does get 2 on the side. Remember me, comes up big here on the side back of Jericho this time. 50%, and that was a large ult fight here. However, the Derank Demons did not pull the trigger on any of the support ults. So remember me is clean out of bank here for their ultimates. Jericho finding the kill onto the Lucio. That's going to be big. He was at 69% towards a beat. Considering out for D-Rank Demons. Nightmare going down. Pingles finds the kill. Jericho finding it on Rocket. D-Rank Demons are stepping up on point. Remembering at 94% and counting, they're slowly chipping their way through. It is just Raza and Neptune. They're finding the kill onto the Bastion. It is a 2v2. It is 2 supports versus Raza and Neptune, who do not have support players with them right now. Raza finds the kill onto the Kiriko. Ball is going to be out for stall. The Lucio stays alive. This ball is going to struggle on this point quite mightily here. A few angles. Raza pops the OC, finds the Lucio, so that beat is not going to be good. No one touches for D-Rank Demons. That's going to be the end of New Junk City. It's going to be end of the regular season for us. Remember me, winning the last 3 games in a row, are now sitting pretty at 10-6. And we're going to wait for Sunday, I believe, to see if we make the playoffs. So if you want to be the first to get the news if we did make the playoffs or we didn't, please do follow us on x.com/remembermeoverwatch. But I have been your caster for the irregular season here, folks. It's been a pleasure, and I'll catch you in the playoffs. And we're done. That was a full season of casting. We're done. We did it, folks. We did it. 10-6 is our final record. We dropped a lot of maps in the first half. Big trees indeed. Ugh. Fuck. Dude, it has been a hell of a week. I'm tired. I don't think I'm gonna do the drives. If I am, I don't think I'm gonna do the drives. I'm gonna be honest. You may rest. 07 to you, Sam. Keep us posted if we make the playoffs, because then I'll make the graphic or the tweet. Thanks for everyone's support throughout this season 7 of the Remember Me. Love you guys all. Yeah, I would say big things are coming down the line, but I need some rest. So love you guys, and I will. I'll see you. I'll post these videos on YouTube, so we have a full season finally recorded, a full history of Remember Me. But for the most part, that's us. That's us for the season. Love you guys. Bye.